radio enthusiasts, welcome to another video about early radio from the Roaring Twenties Antique Radio Museum. We're changing it up a little in this video. We'll be focusing on two pioneers of early manufacturing, Powell Crosley Jr. and his brother Louis Crosley. Powell was 2 years older than Louis, arriving in this world on September 18, 1886. His brother Louis arrived 2 years later on November 24, 1888. The Crosley brothers were as different as could be. Powell was a head-in-the-sky dreamer, and Louis was the practical, feet-on-the-ground type. Powell was stubborn and aggressive. Louis was more laid back and reserved. Everyone knows of the Great Depression that started in the late 1920s, but far fewer remember the Depression of 1893. They were just small children, ages 7 and 5, when their family lost their home, their possessions, everything. Their experience would drive them both to be successful for the rest of their lives. They knew what being poor was like. In 1916, Powell Crosby founded the American Automobile Accessory Company with partner Ira Cooper. Louis Crosley would become head of manufacturing operations. By 1919, the brothers and their partner had sold over $1 million of automobile parts. Though successful, the auto parts company would not be their biggest claim to fame. Their road to fame began in 1921 when Powell's son asked him for a radio. Powell was shocked at the department store's price of $100. That was a lot of money back then. Powell decided to build a more affordable radio and named it the Harco, which he began selling in 1921 for $7. It wasn't long before Powell and his brother Louis were manufacturing radio parts and radios at their Crosley Radio Corporation. By 1925, Crosley Radio Corporation was one of the largest radio manufacturers in the country. The Crosley brothers introduced one of the most iconic radios they would ever build, the Pup Sky Terrier, in 1925. The small one-tube regenerative radio sold for $9.75. They sold the radio in ads that included a new mascot, a dog listening to headphones named Bonzo. Over 14,000 pups were sold in the first 5 weeks, a huge hit for 1925. While the radio manufacturing business was booming, the Crosley brothers had other things on their minds. In 1922, the Crosley Broadcasting Corporation received their federal license to operate a commercial radio station, WLW. The station started out with a 50-watt transmitter and later built a stronger 100-watt transmitter. In 1928, the Crosley Building was built in Cincinnati, Ohio. They built a radio studio and antenna towers on the top floor to accommodate the broadcasting of the radio station WLW. The radio station began broadcasting at 50 kilowatts, a huge increase from their previous 1,000-watt signal output. In 1934, the station's power was increased again, this time to 500 kilowatts. But in 1939, the Federal Communications Commission ruled that the station had to reduce its power to 50 kilowatts due to complaints from other radio stations. The Crosleys would go on to add refrigerators and other appliances to the long list of items they would manufacture. When 1939 came around, Powell Crosby purchased the Cincinnati Reds baseball team. The name of the team's baseball field was changed from Redland Field to Crosley Field. In early May of 1935, electric lights were installed at Crosley Field, and on May 24, 1935, the first night game was played between the Reds and the Philadelphia Phillies. In 1945, Powell Crosley sold most of his businesses to Aviation Corporation, or Avco, with Powell remaining on the board of Avco. Avco started selling television sets using the well-known Crosley name in 1948. The line of televisions only lasted 8 years and was closed down by Avco in 1956. That was the end of the Crosley brand name. Powell Crosley died on March 28, 1961 of a heart attack. His brother Louis lived until November 6, 1978. That's it for this video. There will be more to come as we continue to investigate the early history of the world's first mass medium, radio. Thanks for watching.